Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
It's Wednesday night, and yes, that means it's time for another edition of Auburn Family Night. This is our weekly show where you, the Auburn family, take center stage. It's going to be all about the topics and comments that you have, questions, and even calls. We're getting into all those different things across Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. Let's do that right now. Well, War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about, share the Auburn experience, which to us is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. If it's orange and blue, say it with me, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing for another edition of Auburn Family Night, one of the best shows that we do here on a regular basis at E2C Network, because it's all about you, our audience, and the Auburn family. As you're coming into the stream, we want to invite you to let us know that you're here hanging out with us. So you can do that by smashing the like button, hitting the share button, or you can announce your presence with the War Eagle wherever you're watching from. That's all good stuff tonight. So let us know where you're checking in from. Some of you are so faithful in doing that every single time you check in, and we love to hear from you and see the different places that you're calling in from. We obviously hear a lot of Alabama, Georgia, all that kind of stuff. We hear from all across the world all the time. So thank you guys so much for being here on another Auburn Family Night. I want to remind you that, as has been the case throughout all of football season, we have been proud to partner with BarnerSupply.com as our sponsors for Auburn Family Night. Hope that you'll support them as a great Auburn company, providing you guys lots of options for Auburn apparel. You see me sporting some of that tonight. One of their logos down there in the corner as well. Plenty of things that we'll mention and talk to you about with them throughout the evening. But they make Auburn Family Night possible, and we are proud to partner with them. Visit them at BarnerSupply.com, or you can use the link that we provided in our description here at YouTube on the actual post on social media if you want to access that as well. That's a great opportunity. We may post it in the chat for you each time we mention it, if we can get around to that. Me managing 1,000 different things from here, but thanks to BarnerSupply.com for partnering with us at Auburn Family Night. All right, folks. Whoa, man. Lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. We'll see if anybody is up to calling in tonight. So that is available for you now. If you want to start getting in line for that, just click the link at the top of the chat here on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, it's at the top of the chat until it disappears from comments. So if there's not too many comments, you should be able to find it. If not, it's there. So, by the way, oh, look at that. Auburn volleyball just beat Arkansas. So big win. So, something to celebrate and get started off on the show tonight. I always say this: it feels like Auburn Family Night, something happens, whether it's like, big news or just regular good news like that. Something always occurs in the middle of our live stream. So there you go. Auburn volleyball just beat Arkansas. Well, that's a good start to the show this evening. All right, calls, questions, comments. You guys know the drill. Anything Auburn related is fair game. We'll try to dive into a bunch of different things, hopefully hear from a few of you this evening, and certainly want to continue to acknowledge we are on the road right now. Want to emphasize this, and I'll cover this at the end too, that tomorrow is going to be a day where I'm a little bit iffy on where I'll be and kind of stuff like that. So it could get a little bit tricky with scheduling and stuff. We'll talk about it though throughout, but yes, we are still on the road, and I'm still hearing all this clanging for some reason. I keep saying that on the Auburn Experience show, but it's just the weirdest sound that I keep hearing all around here for some reason. Anyway, let's keep rolling through here. I want to say hello to some fine folks that have already checked in with us from all across the YouTube sphere, the Southeast, all that good stuff. Your new office could use some Auburn decor. My location could use some Auburn decor. Let me just put it to you that way. So I miss being in the studio with you all. I really do. But hopefully, how about this? Since I've been this location, just generically asking for You ought to pray for God's provision throughout this whole process that we're going through right now. Again, everything's fine. We just are wanting things to speed up and move quickly and completeness. So let's just let's continue to pray for those things, because tomorrow would be a good day in terms of getting able to go back home and things like that, which would be outstanding. Rodney checking in with us, Corey checking in with us. Good to see so many of you fine folks here that are always regularly here. We appreciate you all being so faithful and joining us on everything, but especially Auburn Family Night. All right, so there is 1,000 different things that we can take this. There's plenty of room for football talk. There is basketball preseason talk to be had as well. If you remember, we did not do a Auburn Family Night last Wednesday from this location because we had a preseason basketball game. So we did a post-game show of that in lieu of that, and we were so gracious to partner with we were not. They were gracious to partner with us, Barner Supply, for a little bit of a audible call and partner with that show last week. But all that to be said, we've got some basketball things that we can talk about if you find that interesting. There's other things in the sports space, other things that are not in the sports space for Auburn that are fair game. There's a concert coming for Iron Bowl weekend, if that is something that any of you find of interest. Plenty of different things that we could talk about this evening. So we'll work through a few different things. Let me take this one first, since it's basketball related. We'd love to know your expectations for Auburn basketball new coach. Yeah, once again, I always stress that I'm not a very big future thinker on these types of things. But what I will say, Neil, is was very pleased to see that Stephen got the nod as the next head coach. And I think that speaks to maybe my expectations. I will counter feeling confident about the hire and where he can potentially continue the legacy of Bruce Pearl, his father, with acknowledging that anything less than a Final Four is a step back. Can we all just logically acknowledge that? I mean, that would be a step back from last year, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad step back in any way. I think with any change, any transition, you're going to have bumps in the road. Things are going to have to be figured out along the way. That's just with a coaching transition. But let's point out also the fact that Auburn basketball has changed its roster basically completely. Outside of Tahad Pettiford, Blake Muselik, a couple of other walk-ons, that's the team is completely different. The starting lineup is almost completely different. So all of that to be said, I am very hopeful. I'm very excited. Hopeful, is obviously a relative thing, but I'm just excited to see what he can do in that role long term. If that helps round out my thoughts and gives you a better perspective about where I'm kind of at on that. Neil says, I have no idea what to expect. Bruce retired when I was on vacation. Blew my mind. Yeah, I think it's not, I don't think, can we all agree it's not that he retired? It's just the timing of it that felt a little bit abrupt and things like that. So yeah. And Auburn basketball is completely different this year, isn't it? All right, we'll bounce back and forth through a bunch of different topics. This was brought up by Corey. A pondering question I've been having in the back of my mind. Has football passed freeze by? Do you think he's adapted the game today? So can I call you back to a time when we were asking these same questions, maybe for like the last 2 or 3 years of the Gus Malzahn era? And look what it brought us now. I think it's one of those things when things aren't working, and for us as fans on the outside looking in, it seems very simple how to fix it because we think we have all the information, that we start looking for reasons like, well, it's just passed them by. And then we hear others regurgitate those same narratives. And then it kind of starts building that, what's the terminology? Confirmation bias. No, I don't think the game has passed him by. I think there's a lot of context still missing in that. I've said this 1,000 times and I'll keep repeating it. I think he was handed a very, very poor program. And I think it has taken that long to get everything fixed. And I think that's reflective in the fact that you've come so close against these major opponents this year while you've been accruing this talent and yet just haven't been able to get over that hump. I don't think that's the only reason, but I think that is a major reason that people don't want to reconcile with because it doesn't fix anything in the immediate area. If that makes sense for my reasoning on that. WT says, my expectation is top tier of the SEC. This is for basketball and probably a 4 seed in the tournament. I saw someone today, WT, say 5 seed, and I really haven't made a decision about a seed. Now, I got to make the tournament, right? Like, not making the tournament currently in this day and age is not going to be a thing to be happy about. Well, you're never not happy about that, but you understand what I mean. Bruce raised the bar. Bruce raised the expectation. Auburn makes the tournament. You can be varying degrees of making the tournament, but certainly he has raised the bar in that way. And Auburn basketball ranked number 22 in the preseason. You know, I'm not a big polls guy. I don't really care what they say about Auburn preseason or anything like that, but that gives you at least a perspective of what people are thinking about. Let's see what else. I know we're bouncing around to different topics here, so I'm going to try to keep us succinct as best as I can. Micah's here. Don't you call us coconuts, sir. You're this coconut for being here in an Auburn chat, but we love you anyway. Where am I at, Neil? This is Neil says, the most insane thing about Auburn football is that our 4 losses are very winnable for Auburn. Absolutely. I don't even think it's insane. It's frustrating, right? It's just frustrating. Neil likes doing a little bit of a callback for us here. AU defense reminds me of Tuberville years in some ways. I guess I really haven't thought about it that way, Neil. But, you know, the thing that you'll think about for great Auburn defenses is obviously, oh my gosh, Kevin DC, whatever his name was. Anyway, Kevin Steele. You'll think about Will Muschamp. You'll think about Gene. You'll think about some others probably in there as well. And if that harkens back to some of that memory for you, that's a good thing. I've seen a lot of people compare it to the 2019 defense. Maybe. How about this? Whether you think it's the Tuberville era defense, when Gus was here, Gus had Will here and Kevin Steele. Those are good people and good times to be reminded of, and it's a great reminder of what they're accomplishing as a group right now. 313 in the house. Good to see you, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with us this evening. He said, Micah said, we'll see if I was about to say, I'm actually just here tonight. Not going to be mean at all today, or at least try not to. We know you better than that, Micah. We know you much better than that, my friend. We'll see how long that lasts for you. Neil says, Tuberville defenses didn't give up a lot of points. 7-3 win over LSU in 06 was one of those. Certainly a good example right there. I think you probably could make some similar comparisons to the 2019 defense. You know, and I think where the similarity comes with people trying to say this defense reminds them of the 2019 is because of the lack of offense that was supporting them. The Tuberville eras, there was at least some type of offense for the majority of those seasons that was supporting them. So it at least felt a little bit more balanced and maybe even elevated their play, because when you know that your offense is going to do something, boy, you take maybe a few more chances with some of that talent and some of that ferocity that you're showing and do some surprising things. So there's one thing that we all agree on is that the defense is playing outstanding right now. I just want to remind everybody that how quickly things can change. Game 1 and even a little bit of game 2, people were very, very down on the defense, and we've somehow forgotten about that. So just keep that in mind for future things as well. Neil says Chizik was a fantastic DC. He was the 04 undefeated team. 05 Texas championship team defenses were scary good. And he was pretty good the rest of his career as well. I forget how it ended at North Carolina. I don't think that well. But for this first stint at North Carolina, it was pretty good too. So Gene knew how to do defenses very, very well. And there's a reason why they were always very good. I'm sorry. I got to fix something here. Sorry. I'm in a different space and everything's kind of out of whack and things like that. It's tough. All right. We haven't heard from Kevin yet, which is making me wonder where he's at this evening. Maybe he's at church. He's called in late before, but you guys don't be shy. We'd love to hear from some of you this evening. Don't lose taking advantage of this call-in link. We'd love to get some perspectives here. Let me remind you of our friends at barnersupply.com. This is just one of the designs. This is called the Classic Barn A. Yes, WT, I know you want the, I can't even mirror myself properly. Whoa. The U, you want to have the white U to magnify that. When life slows down for me and Matt and I get to talk again, just other than just quick text and things like that, who's the owner of Barn Supply, I will make sure that I mention that to him again for you, because I do think that's a great idea. And I know that he was intrigued by it when you mentioned it here before. So all that to be said, barnersupply.com, make sure you support them. Our links are in the profile, the profile, but the description for YouTube, they should be if you're watching on Facebook. Just give it a click, go in there, check out their store. Again, if you shop through our affiliate link, we're an affiliate. You support us and support them just by visiting. But of course, if you buy something as well, they're a great Auburn business that you want to make sure that you're supporting too. Let's see here. This is Micah. Says, but Kyle, I'm not afraid to ask the hard questions respectfully. That is not being mean, just asking questions I'm sure others might be asking. Yeah, of course. There's nothing wrong with questions as long as it's done in good faith. Nothing wrong with that. I can't bring up that rhyming. I cannot bring that up, rhyming limit. That's a disgusting phrase right there. It'd be good to see you. He says, Lane is a troll. Kyle is a boss. All right, I'll bring it up just because of that. There you go. And WT is awesome. WT is getting the love here lately in the chat stuff. There you go. Yeah, Lane's a funny dude, and he's very entertaining. I'm very happy that he is currently and hopefully for a while not associated with us. It's interesting. It's an interesting time. He's always being talked about, and it's Lane Kiffin is becoming the Bobby Petrino of his time, where everybody wants him, and then suddenly it's going to go bad. That's my fear. Anyway, I'm just going to leave that alone. We're talking about Auburn things tonight that are current and relevant. There you go. All right, let's get a new batch of topics, questions, comments, things that you guys want to dive into a little bit. We've already bounced a little bit to basketball, a little bit to football. Anything else that you guys would like to discuss? I'd like to bring something up while you're thinking about that, just as a quick little aside to give us an extra bit of flavor. Some big baseball news this week. First of all, Savannah Banana Ball is coming to Plainsman Park. I will not be able to attend. We originally were going to be able to attend. Well, how about this? We were planning to be in the lottery, and we're here. So gladly so that we're here instead of doing that. But my wife and I were planning on doing a little post or late anniversary trip to Auburn and go to Savannah Banana Ball and watch all that, hang out in Auburn a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, we are, not unfortunately, fortunately, we're here. But I hope some of you guys get to do that. The other cool baseball note, if you didn't hear, Frank Thomas is coming back to Auburn baseball. Who'd have thunk it? Now it's his son, the third, Frankie Thomas III, committed to Auburn baseball. That's awesome. I love family legacies. So if you missed that bit of news, I just wanted to insert that in here because I think it's really important. When you don't just bring people in because they're your legacies, unless you have the room for them or something like that. But if they're great prospects, and I trust Bush Thompson, and you should, then we're certainly going to be excited about that and also celebrate that he's part of the legacy, that he's part of everything else. And we're going to be excited that today is the 10th anniversary of the hiring of Bush Thompson. So just some really, really, really good Auburn baseball news that's already happened, transpiring, and happened this weekend, and fall ball is going on right now. I just wanted to throw that little bit of extra something in there for you today. All right, I see you guys bringing up some topics, so let's not get too far behind here and run that. He says, wow, that's an insult. Kiffin is like Bobby Petrino. My goodness, that's mean. I just mean in the fact that you remember how hot a topic Bobby Petrino was. Auburn was always going to hire him, and I just, thank goodness we never did. And that's kind of how I feel about Lane. I think Lane is very entertaining from afar, and I value what he brings to the table in the SEC in that way. But I'm glad to, from afar, leave it alone. My God. Let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, WT. I'm not even going there, my friend. I am not even going there. Okay, this is from Stan. According to Philip Marshall on 24/7, I knew what you meant by the PM. Freeze is safe to finish the season. Now, listen, I don't know if that's true. I think obviously Philip Marshall is a very informed guy. It's been around for a long time. So if he is officially saying that, that's probably holds a lot of water. What I will say is this: there's nothing that's ever written in stone, but certainly, what a cool story if you were able to turn this season around in a very strong fashion, and how much egg everybody would have on their face. I'm not saying it's going to happen, nor do I'd probably even venture to say I don't think it's likely that that happens. But what if it did? What if it did? What if it did? It'd be interesting. It would certainly be interesting to see all of the things that people would have to. We wouldn't go back and revisit, but we'll see. Corey bringing up the news that's been very, very popular today. Very popular. In other wonderful news, Ken Williamson, referee, got permanently suspended for poor officiating in the Auburn versus Georgia. I believe it's more than just that. Now, can I say something here? Yellowhammer News, nothing against them, is the only one that I think that has posted this, correct? Can anybody confirm that any other site of more, I don't want to say legitimacy, but more like prominence has reported on that? It's not like I don't believe there's a satire website or anything like that, but there's been a lot of talk about it today, but I haven't seen anything other than Yellowhammer News. So I don't even know if this is 100% true or anything like that, but I guess not to rain on the parade here, but like, what does it matter? Like it doesn't solve anything other than maybe, it doesn't happen again with him. But if it's been bad across the board in some games this year for a lot of teams, but especially Auburn. Let's see here. It's everywhere on 24/7. Okay, so we got some. Okay, so these sites are reporting it as well. Okay, well, so there you go. I as I've told you guys on Wednesday nights, I tend to check out a little bit for the last couple of hours, and I continue to learn that's not something I need to do, but I have to have some family time, as I hope you understand. But yeah, it's not that I want to rain on the parade. It just doesn't. It just doesn't do for me what I think a lot of the Auburn fans it's doing for right now. It doesn't solve anything. It didn't fix anything. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Yay, I guess. Retribution, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't fix anything. I guess that's what I have a hard time wrapping my head around. Micah says, a good point. If I may, Hugh Freeze hasn't gotten the death sentence. Can I say that on? Will they like ban me for saying that? That's why you put the skull vote of confidence speech yet either. Yeah, that is technical. It's funny you say that, and then this quote this week where he was asked, not planted, about wanting to vote of confidence, and he says yes. I'm like, do you really want that? That's usually kind of a sign it's going down. So. All right, a little bit of topics brought up about what's up with Kiffin saying okay had bad plays. So some discussion here about it from you guys, and certainly, look, it's Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin loves to stir. Lane Kiffin loves to be in the discussion. Lane Kiffin just loves Lane Kiffin. And so he is going to have fun. And I think sometimes he's generally just that interesting of a guy, and he likes to bring things up like that. So if you guys aren't aware, he discussed in his press conference this week about how he felt that Oklahoma was stealing signs of, well, he didn't blatantly say that. He just said that he felt, I forget the quote exactly. Basically, he implied that Oklahoma was stealing Auburn's signs. And then people got into debates about, well, is it actually stealing signs if you just learn them throughout the game and stuff? Look, I don't care. When I say Lane Kiffin, I just figure out where the chuckle is, and then I just move on. Basically, is what I'm mostly focused on here. All right, we got our first caller lined up tonight. We'll get to them in just a second here. Let me make sure we're not getting behind. What else? Corey says, and I believe this is in relation to the refs, I appreciate the accountability. And just please don't hear me saying that that's the accountability of the refs is not important. That's not what I mean at all. I'm struggling to find the joy in it other than that, right? The accountability. And I guess it just is not doing enough for me. Okay. Let's see here. Micah says, y'all don't play Mississippi State this year, do y'all? If so, Hugh Freeze may want to watch out. We do not play Mississippi State this year. They have caught some people by interest at times, but then they also couldn't finish the job this week. I was watching that game very thoroughly. Some irony right now for me, if that was the case. But so no, we don't play them this year. It would have been fun to do that. And a lot of people speculated too, Micah, that Mississippi State would have been Auburn's third of the repeat three for the scheduling for the next 4 years. And I think that would have been an outstanding fit. Unbeaten Lake says this Auburn-Arkansas game might be bad, but it will never be as bad as the 2012 Auburn-Arkansas game. And I was at that game, unfortunately. It sounds like you've got some repressed trauma that we need to go to further Auburn counseling for you on Unbeaten Lake. So I feel you there. I still have trauma over the 3-2 Mississippi State game. Talked about it this week, actually, with somebody. And, yeah, that's the Mississippi State curse is getting fired after getting beaten. Them is there. All right, keep the comments and questions coming, but we're gonna step away for just a second here. We'll take our call. Before I do that, remind you of our friends at barnersupply.com. Check them out. Links are in the post that you're watching on social media, the description on YouTube. You can check this cool logo out. That one down in that corner down there, plenty of other designs on their apparel that is for Auburn fans to barn out and barn hard. Barnersupply.com. Visit through our link. We're an affiliate of theirs. We'd love for you to support us by supporting them. And they're a great Auburn company that you definitely want to know and be able to shop with especially for holiday season coming up. Okay, we got our first caller ready for the evening. So let's go ahead and take him. I was wondering where he was. What's going on, buddy? Are you there? Hang on one second. Let me make sure I've got myself potted up correctly here. Yeah, Kevin, you are muted, buddy. So can you unmute yourself? I don't have you muted. It is you. I love the hat, though. I've got a mute sign on your thing, and I do not have the ability. Let me see. Yeah, it's on your end, the mute button. Okay, it looks like he's going to call back. Hey, everybody, look who it is here in the house. Dalton also, but what's cooking, Devin? Stan knew the assignment. Dalton checking in from Noonan. Good to see you, my friend. All right, we got Kevin back. Let's give him a try here. What's going on, sir?
War Eagle.
War Eagle, how you doing? Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but we couldn't hear you.
I think we will beat Arkansas this week.
I have never felt more confident in a game this week than that's not saying much, but I do agree with you. I think it's in Auburn's best interest to win too.
Do you think we will see either Ashton Daniels or Deuce Knight?
Let me say it this way. I hope not, because that means that Auburn is being successful. That means that Jackson, who is still to be the starter, is doing well. And that has nothing to do with Ashton Daniels. That has nothing to do with Deuce Knight. That has everything to do with what is best for Auburn, and what is best for Auburn is for it to succeed. And that's what you're starting.
What did Braylon Walmack say about the Auburn football team?
I vaguely know what you're talking about, but I really don't pay attention to what 17 and 18-year-old boys say on social media. Just to be honest with you, once they commit, and he did commit, so I'm not saying he's not important. Yeah. I'm just saying I don't really concern myself with what they are and aren't saying until they get here.
Which number is Quan Fagans?
I have not learned his number off the top of my head. If you'll give me 2 seconds, though, I'll look up for you.
I know Kalen Lee is number 4.
Kalen Lee is 4, yes. Anquan Fagans is 21. I just looked 21. It up for you. 21. Is there a reason you ask? Just curious.
He's my friend.
He's your friend? When did you get to be friends with Anquan Fagans?
Because he's from Thompson High School.
Okay, so that's where the connection comes from.
And Hoover beat Thompson by 55-yard field goal.
Well, dadgum, there you go. We're getting a high school football report from you today as well. Well, that's cool that you're friends with New Boy. Love the name. It's an interesting name that he has for that one.
Hey, when do I think we should give you Freeze at least 3 more years?
Well, how about this? I'm not ready to go in. Like I don't want to sit here and say that I'm not willing to give somebody whatever time they need. But like, I just like, let's go game by game at this point. Let's just let's go game by game. We'll figure it out from there.
How many more games we got?
5 total, I believe. So we are 3 and 4. So yeah, 5. Yeah, 5 more.
Let's win 5 more.
5 more. I listen. It is right there for the taking. You couldn't have it better set up. All of these teams from this point forward,
the Cowboy Vanderbilt, is for Jaquez Hunter.
Okay. Yeah, I figured it was something like that, but we'll see how that shakes out the rest of the year. Hopefully, there can be a nice little win streak.
I think Cam Coleman will have a breakout game this Saturday.
Well, I kind of think he's had, if you want to call it a breakout game, he broke the 100-yard mark recently. Certainly the touchdowns haven't been there, but you've seen a clear effort to get that man the ball and show him that he's still a priority. So I think it depends on what you mean by breakout game, I guess.
Is Champ? Is it Champ?
Champ Anthony?
Not Champ Bailey. Champ
Anthony.
Is he ready to go?
He's been playing. He's already been playing.
He's playing.
Yeah, he's been playing. Yeah.
The defense looks good, and the offense needs run the ball more.
I think it would make me happy personally, regardless of how the offense has been doing, to run the ball more. That's just what I like. So I agree with you on that, but it has nothing to do with anything outside of that.
How did Connor Lew get hurt?
I think he got rolled up just in a pile, but it's his torn ACL, so he's done for the year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, done for the year. Cale Ellis is going to be the primary center. That's kind of, it's frustrating that he has to endure that type of trial by fire for him, but hey, it's an opportunity.
When is the first regular season Auburn men's basketball game? You know about that?
Off the top of my head, I cannot remember it. It's in November, but I can look it up for you real quick.
I think November 3rd.
That sounds about right. Let's see here. We've got Bethune-Cookman, November 3rd, right on the money, Monday. Now, can I just say, here's a little bit of a complaint from me. Why are we playing our first game on a Monday night?
I don't know.
Like that makes no sense.
Good.
That makes no sense. Yes, he is. But that makes no sense that we're playing on a Monday night for the home opener. Makes no sense. That should have been a Saturday, Sunday.
I can't believe BYU is undefeated.
Oh, BYU. I haven't really been paying attention to them. I'll be honest with you. I'm just, me, I'm just an Auburn guy. So I'll check in.
Auburn guy and whoever plays Alabama.
Well said. Well said. I'd like to think that they live that rent free in my head, but I really just kind of follow the Auburn stuff. I will not act like I don't enjoy when they lose, though.
And the Auburn volleyball beat Arkansas tonight.
Yeah, I think you weren't here earlier. It happened right as we went live, so I announced that they beat Arkansas tonight 3-1. So big win for them in the SEC.
Do you know what their record is?
He's having look. Kevin's putting me to work tonight here. Let me find out for you. Let me look it up for you. It's probably going to have not been updated quite yet, so we'll make that assumption.
Hey, will you be at?
Hang on. Let me get to this first.
Okay.
Let me get this first. Yeah, and then I'll get to the next question. Kevin's making me work tonight, y'all. Jeez. All right, so we've got our schedule pulled up here, and it does not look like the Arkansas game has been updated on the website. So we're going to say 14-6 is their record. It's listed as 13-6 overall, 4-4 in the conference. But if it was updated, it probably would say 14-6, 5-4 in the conference. So since you brought it up, this is a big improvement from last year where they had like 2 conference wins, I think.
Yeah.
So already 5 conference wins. This is a much improved year for the Auburn women's, yes, but the Auburn volleyball team. What was your next question?
And will you be at the Mercer game?
That's my plan. My answer always needs to be, if Lord willing, I'm there. But yes, that is my plan right now. Oh, Kevin, you there? Kevin just went dark. What happened? Kevin! 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 Sorry, I was trying to do a really bad Home Alone impersonation there. We lost Kevin. I'm not sure what's going on there. If he calls back in, I'll let him in for one more question or something like that. I'd hate for his call to end that. Well, there he is. Hey, there you go. We got you. What happened? Kevin? 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 Can you hear me? All right. We'll see if he'll call back in one more time. I'm sure we can hear him right now, but it's got off to a rough start with his phone call, and now it's kind of ended on the sour note there. We'll get it figured out. All right. A couple of questions here while he tries to call back in. Micah, you do need to call in. So what if nobody likes you? So what? Just call it. Devin says, I thought I read that they were moving Mason Murphy to center, bringing in too tall, or they were just considering that. So Kayla Ellis is getting most of the reps. Mason Murphy will be rotated in there for more snaps because you got to have a backup, right? And that's what it sounded like Hugh Freeze was saying. I'm 90% sure, 99% sure of that. Too tall will be moved into what Mason was playing for more reps, which he was already like that sixth man on the offensive line. So that all of that makes perfect sense. I just wasn't aware. I guess I should have remembered that Mason Murphy was a very versatile guy, had played everywhere across the offensive line. I think he had a little bit of center experience when he first started at college. No, inside guard. I mean, it's just guard. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's getting some, you got to have a backup. So I think that's what's happening there. Did whoever call in Hunter? I'm missing who the he is in that one. Okay, so Devin is clarifying on volleyball that it was updated. So it just looked weird when I went there. So it's 4, either way, 4-4 in the conference, 13-6 overall. That's a much better improvement there. All right, let's get Kevin one more second here. All right, Kevin, buddy, I think we're having problems with your phone tonight. So let's get one more question from you.
And I think we will have a pick 6 too this coming Saturday.
Love it, man. Give me a score prediction before you leave tonight.
Auburn 48, Arkansas 21.
Love it. We'll see if you're right on Saturday. So we'll talk to you next Wednesday to see if you're right.
I got 4 tickets to the Mercer game. I'm planning to go to that game.
Well, I want to see you there, okay?
At Tiger Walk.
Yes, sir. Nice. It would be great to see you there.
War Eagle, bye.
War Eagle, bye. All right, you guys, the phone lines are available for all of you this evening as well. Don't be shy. Jump on into the chat here as well, but the phone lines, just call in. Even just say hello for a second. One of the biggest things, and I'm going to talk about till I'm blue in the face, is I know it's intimidating in some ways. Not intimidating, I don't mean that like you're scared, but just like it's just to hear your voice and think you're going to be made fun of and all that stuff. Just give it a try. Trust me, once you start doing it, it becomes very easy. Let's see here. Okay, I see that, Stan. I was wondering what that was about. Just trying to check in here. Hunter says, I saw that Deuce Knight has completely cleansed his Instagram account of any and all Auburn posts, may be a cause of concern for the near future. Womack also scheduled to visit LSU. I think everybody is looking for reasons right now to feel like the sky is falling. And I'm not saying you are, Hunter, but I just think that's the general consensus right now. And I think it's a reflection of how two people are. I'm going to put it into perspective for everybody, not just one person. If you're spending time worrying about the Instagram accounts of 17 and 18-year-old boys, it's time to wake up. It's time to stop focusing on that so much. I'm not concerned about it. If going to happen, will happen. There's nothing, no amount of worry, concern that you do that is going to change it. So the only way I was aware of it is people asked it on the TikTok stream today. So I'm not concerned about it whatsoever. If somebody wants to leave, they can leave. If somebody is going elsewhere and decides they want to flip, that's whatever it is. We'll figure it out down the line. Let's see here. Ellis hasn't been playing. He was the backup center. Did I say something wrong there, Stan? Maybe I said something incorrectly, but yes, Ellis has always been the backup, and now he'll be the starter. All right, so we have a vote count for Micah to call in. It looks like every single person that's participated thus far wants you to call in there. Micah's got to call in this evening. Now, here's the question. All right, so Micah, you can force everybody's hand here. If they just voted you in to call in, you can force everybody's hand here the same way. So they didn't think about that. Call their bluff. If you do it and they get voted in, they got to do it too. I'm telling you, this is good stuff right here. Okay, going back to the comments about the that I typically wouldn't be, but when it's your future guy at quarterback and your best recruit of the class, it may become a trend. No good. Sure, it might be, but no amount of worrying about it is going to solve anything. And you don't know that he is going to be the future quarterback. You think he's going to be, but you don't know that he's going to be. So that's you don't have to agree with me on that, but I promise you, I spent way too much time worrying about the decision-making process of 17 and 18-year-old boys as it was regarding to recruiting. Let me put that at the tail end there. And I don't do that anymore. And my life is much more pleasant and much more fulfilling as a sports fan, but as an Auburn fan. Micah, but you got to do it. You got to do it first, Micah. You've got to do it first, because then they got nothing to say to you ever, because you called in once they voted you to call in. That's what I'm saying. So let me, Devontae, it hasn't been asked specifically tonight, so I'll definitely bring this up. I'm not a guy that plays these games of if this happens, especially with regards to a coaching change. No coaching change has happened. I find no value in discussing it and speculating about it. I think it's actually detrimental to especially the fan base, the team, all of that kind of stuff. You don't have to agree with me on that. So I don't really even play those games. If that happens, we will certainly, there will be plenty of time to tackle all that. To me, if you're already in that mode right now, you're entering a toxic place in your relationship with this team. And I'm not saying that you're a toxic person. I'm just saying it's not something that is productive in my view, which is why we don't spend a lot of time focused on that, which frankly, I think a lot of you, if you're honest, you probably find a little bit refreshing, because that's all you see on social media and stuff right now. And I get it. I'm not saying it's not an important topic in some regard, but it's just not important enough for me to talk about it right now. Hunter, I'm going to vouch for Micah. He has called in. I'm not even going to what benefit do I get from defending a Bama fan? But I'm going to give the man the kudos that he deserves. He has called in before. I love how y'all are all fighting about who's going to call in, and yet no one's going to call in. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of talk about future stuff. Fire a coach, start over again. It didn't have to be this way. Stan knows what's up. My WT. I love that everybody is here is positioned. This show has turned into, here's my lack of calling in resume and how I've avoided and how I'm going to keep myself from doing it. So basically, we're just going to have a call-in link and everybody's going to avoid it and badger each other into calling. And Kevin's going to be the only one. Kevin, Thomas, Devin has called in probably more frequently as well. Who else has been we've heard from Felix. Yeah, those are some more regular guys there. So this is interesting. I can't say that I saw Auburn Family Night turning into the no, you do it, no, you call tonight. Stan, in what world don't I like you, sir? In what world don't I like you? Of course I do. Stephen A. Smith is going to be in Birmingham Friday. Well, thanks for the information. I was wondering if that was something to do with Auburn or just sharing information. But he's a very entertaining guy. Yes, I will do that. Well, in the figurative sense. Let me be very, very clear on that. Calling in is reserved to only Auburn fans. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, I'm gonna say something here to light a fire under Auburn fans. I think I value the other calls more. I'm kidding. I value them all the same, but it is great to hear different perspectives. In fact, for a while when we first started doing the Thursday night preview shows, I made a big point about making clear the phone lines are open, but only for the fans of the teams that are playing. And early on, we have some people take advantage of it, but it never really amounted to anything after that. That's why we stopped doing that. That's why we also the interest in those shows has waned a little bit. Wink, wink. But I guess let me take a second here while I've already gone on that subject for a minute. Maybe there's a chance tomorrow night that the preview and prediction show does not happen. It is outside of my control. I'm going to do my best to do that tomorrow night. I can't make promises. You will see me in different locations if I'm live. How about this? The next time I'm live, you're 99% going to see me in a different location. Don't know where it'll be. Hopefully it's back home. Hopefully it's not. I mean, hopefully it is, but hopefully it won't be in this location that I've been in for a bit, but I hope so. All right, let me get real quick. I haven't remind you our friends again at barnsupply.com. Once again, guys, I would really highly encourage you just to go check out their website. The link is here in the description for YouTube. If you're watching on social media spaces, it's part of the video there, the description of it. Once we're done here, once you're done with us, please just make sure you visit them and go check out what they've got for you there. Cool hats like this, other apparel they've got, other little koozies, cup holders. He also likes to experiment with a lot of other cool Barner designs and things like that. So Matt Hill, the guy who runs Barner Supply, he is just a very creative guy. And pretty much if you want to design, it's at least entertaining. So barnsupply.com, we're proud to partner with them. They're in Auburn Family Nights for football season. And they're a great Auburn company. Chuck is officially working with ESPN. ESPN would make a huge mistake if they don't let him call out games. Call out games. What do you mean? Call them in terms of being the TV broadcaster? I think he's probably best suited for the halftime, pregame, halftime, and postgame shows, to be honest with you. Hunter says, I'd like to see someone call in on video dressed as Kyle, but I wear so many different things. So if you're going to dress as me, you've probably got to wear a hat. You got to have a very thin mustache and scraggly beard. That's got a little bit of, I know it doesn't see a little pepper gray in there. It's coming through. By the way, sorry, random thoughts. This is what happens on Auburn Family Night. So because of all of this stuff, I just had the interest while I had some very limited free time lately to go look at my stream from when Gus Malzahn was fired so many moons ago to see if I could find the quote in there where I say this decision just made Auburn move into its decade of irrelevancy. We're halfway there. So the point of that was talking about the beard. If you look in that video, the quality is not as good because I just started streaming, but my beard is so much more colored and stuff in that, which is just sad to look at for me. Let's see here. What is going on in the chat? My goodness. What is going on there? Kyle and I would have a really nice conversation. Am I missing the rest of that? You're also a mod on Unfair Sports and Health. Yeah, listen, I like having conversations. So anytime somebody wants to just talk sports, especially Auburn sports, I'm there for you, man. Let's see. Oh man, could you imagine, Corey, if I've been doing this years ago. I knew a friend of Aubie. I probably could have gotten him to carry out a dustbuster on purpose. That would have been top notch, wouldn't it have been awesome. It's good stuff right there. All right, Hunter says, who is the most underrated Auburn offensive and defensive player in the last 10 years? Underrated offensive. Darius Slayton. it's so easy to make that case with how great an NFL career he's having as a role player, but he's pretty solid. That's a strong one. I'm thinking more on the offensive side. Maybe Braden Smith, offensive line. 10 years would be 2015. Anybody else has any opinions on that? Please feel free to share. Defensive, underrated. I still think it's Roger McCreary, frankly, even though he was well thought of at the end of his career. Very high opinion of him. Eugene Asante. I think he's even still very similar to Roger, earned his respect at the end. I think that's a good candidate. I don't know that I would consider Ryan Davis underrated by with his career. When you own a record or part of a record, I think it kind of speaks for itself there. But I see the point that you're trying to make. WT, I just missed this. It would be easy to dress as Kyle. Just put an Uber sticker in the corner of the screen. Goodness gracious, y'all are letting me have it tonight, aren't you? Stidham on offense. So again, we're talking about here the underrated of the last 10 years offensive defenses. I wanted to say that, Neil. I really did. But he kind of falls in the same vein as Ryan Davis. Like, it was good enough to not be underrated, but if you counter in just what feels like not as strong of quarterback play since that time, since Bo Nix, but it was right before Bo Nix. Certainly that has some value to it. Deshaun Davis, Hunter, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know that I think Carlton Davis is underrated, but I see where you're going with this, but the value is still there. You said Ryan Davis because he's never brought up as one of the better receivers we've had. But see, I think I don't think that necessarily means that you are underrated, but I see the point you're trying to make with it, but it wouldn't be first in my list. How about that? Let's see. This is from Micah. I've seen bits and pieces of Cam Newton's podcast, and you know what? He's got some good knowledge on a lot of things, and he's willing to give Bama their worth when someone like Portnoy says the Big Ten is better. Listen, Cam, I think, is a very smart ball player and a very smart quarterback, and I think that comes through when you really listen to him and let him talk. I think his personality these days rubs people the wrong way, his style. But if you watch Cam when he goes through his mind, he was a very smart quarterback. And people want to talk about the athleticism of him. Your mind has got to be sharp as well. I think that's what makes the great ones the great ones. Neil says Stidham beat two great teams of UJ and Bama. Last time we beat UJ was 27. Thank you for reminding me. Hunter says, are we a fan base ready to say that Bo Nix was undeservedly bashed and ran off by our fan base? I don't agree with you that he was run off by the fan base. He chose to leave. However, I will agree with you that he was, and if you go back to some videos of right when that was happening, before or after, or how much we defended Bo Nix, and it's leading up to that, we defended Bo Nix. I'll never forget this. I'm trying to do a post-game stream of our first game of the season, and Bo and Oregon just started playing at the same time as I started. And all people were in the chat that could talk about was just laughing at Bo Nix. I'm like, y'all are looking so sorry right now, because you're sitting there laughing at this dude's face. He just left so that he could be protected as a quarterback. And he was having a rough game. But after that game, they had a great season. So, yes, I would agree with you that he was undeservedly bashed at times. Undeservedly is not a fair statement. It was unfairly bashed at times. Here's Unbeaten Lake with a little Auburn in the pros update for us. Walker Kessler currently 5 for 5, 2 for 2 from three-point land. That tall boy can shoot. 13 points early in the second. Not shocked at all. Ooh, another good pull for an underrated Auburn player, at least offensively. Austin Golson played all 5 positions. That is your strongest one that you have brought up tonight, Hunter. Well played. Well played on all accounts. That is probably one of the strongest of all the questions that you like to propose, which we love. And then you have a suggestion for, I have no notes. That is, I'll just shut up. There's no notes. Good job. Well done. WT says the head coach ran him off, though. The fans just went into a feeding frenzy. I disagree with the head coach ran him off, too. I don't think there's any actual proof to that. But I think Bo just chose to leave, which was a great time for us, by the way, if y'all remember that. Anybody remember that? When you report something that's true and then it changes and then you have a bunch of egg on your face and then people want to act like you were being dishonest when you were just reporting what was true at the time and you had the scoop on it. It was tough, real tough. What is up with Auburn and having players of the last name Davis? I guess it makes life easier than doing jerseys. I've thought about that before, Micah. Carlton Davis, Chris Davis, Javaris Davis, Stephen Davis, all the other Davises I haven't even mentioned yet. Deshaun Davis. There's plenty I'm forgetting that are out there still. Rhyming Lemon says, do you think Auburn versus Arkansas will be a track race like Texas A&M versus Arkansas? I haven't watched very little film of Arkansas. I hear how great their offensive is, but I heard that about a lot of the other teams that we faced, and the defense did a great job against them. I think that's what everybody is expecting to see, but how often in Auburn games has what we've expected to see happened this year? Devin's with me on this one. I don't think that's a true narrative out there. I think it's something people wanted it to be. Let's see here. Are the Auburn fans upset that Florida pulled the trigger on a head coach change before Auburn? I think many of them are, but I think that narrative, that concept of making a change is not being discussed enough in nuance other than emotion. Clarification for WT. Bo Nix saw mediocrity with Harsin and bailed. He was looking out for himself. I don't even believe that, WT. I sincerely, and have some, I want to say proof, but I have some knowledge that leads me to believe this decision was solely, I have already been injured mega by playing here. My reputation is getting also tarnished here. Let me get out and go protect myself and my relationship with the school. There goes Davis is the only one that counts to me. No, you can't discount Deshaun Davis. Let's see here. I'm getting a little bit behind. Let me scroll through here. Here's Rhyming Lemon. Yeah, we're right about time. You can keep questions coming, but I do need to wrap up soon. If you, Kyle, could bring back one and only one player from Auburn football history for one full season, who would it be and why? Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. Am I unclear in any way? Just because I want to see him in his prime here. I don't know if I'd go that far, but you're just suggesting it because it's a possibility. But I don't think it was that cordial of an exit. I was adding nuance to what you were saying, WT. Okay, what else? Anything else here? Did I say something wrong, Micah? All right, final questions, comments, topics. I feel like I'm getting down a rabbit hole here, but we can rapid fire here at the end. Let me do some housekeeping here. First of all, you guys know I'm going to say it again. I've said it a lot the last week or so, really 2 weeks. We are in a very interesting season right now with family stuff going on. Once again, I want to reiterate, everything's fine. Everything's good here. What we ask you, for those of you that are praying people, to do for us is to pray for God's provision and speed and completeness in what we're going through right now. All of it good. I'll be able to talk more about it in the future, hopefully, and in a good light. But especially tomorrow, we are about to exit where we currently are and be in a little bit of a limbo. And who knows? Next time that I go live, you might see me in maybe even at home. But for that reason, as I said earlier in the show, we may not do the preview and prediction show tomorrow. I would lean it's not happening, but please do make sure you're subscribed. Please do make sure you have your notification bells. Maybe check in around 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, just to see if it got going. It's going to be a touch and go, probably last minute decision if I can do it, just because of we're not sure what tomorrow's schedule is going to look like. But just want to be upfront with you guys and, let you know what's going on as much as I can in whatever detail I can right now. With that same thing for our regular content and stuff, that's still just kind of tentative for the time being at this point. So thank you for your understanding. Thank you for those of you that have been, concerned, just wanting to make sure we're okay. Everything's great here. But all of that being said, just want to keep you informed. With that being said, the plan, we would love to do Thursday night preview and prediction show, post-game show for Auburn versus Arkansas. That still kind of could change too, but we're going to hope to do that. I'm pretty confident I'll be able to do the Sunday night Auburn Experience live show with Austin and myself, which he actually is going to be gone this week. I just remembered, I think. So got to get all that figured out. Can you tell it's just crazy right now for the two of us? We're getting it figured out. But thank you guys for your patience. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for being here. It's great stuff here. So let me check in with you guys on comments to round out the show here. This is from Hunter. He says, hear me out, Jarrett Stidham, in our current office would mean undefeated season right now. I saw some things that I see that have been issues with Jarrett that I see in Jackson. And so I'm actually like early on, especially, and then some of the low periods during his 2 years. So I won't agree with you wholesale on that, but we have a fuller picture of his time to go off of there. Thank you for your understanding, sir. Hunter, what I'm going to say is I know it's just frustrating that I keep talking vague about this, but I'm really not going to reveal where we are. And it's just for protection. I think we're not in any danger or anything like that. You'll understand in time. I do appreciate your interest in all those things. And I hate talking about so vaguely, but I also want y'all to be aware of why things are a little bit different currently right now as much as I can. Thank you. Appreciate that. Rhyming Lemon. What else we got in here? Kyle acts like we have anything better to do than to check in tomorrow night. You do have stuff better to do than that. Ooh, no. Oh, I can't even. Rhyming Lemon. That is. Oh, I'm glad I read that before. Anyway, that's what a way to end the show. Did you testify against the mob? They're currently waiting. This one. Witness protection. No, it is sadly nothing that. Gladly nothing that serious. Yeah, I have dropped context clues where I am, and we'll just leave it at that. But anyway, I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us. I say this every single Wednesday night, but I mean it. It's probably my favorite night of the week, other than the Auburn Experience shows on Sunday, just because Austin and I get to get together and we love talking together. But I love these shows because of just the shenanigans we get into. You guys have time and time again, anytime that, content as a content creator feel like, are we doing the right thing? All that stuff. When I get together with you guys in this informal format, it's just a great experience. So what I ask you to do is to continue to help us building this, continue to bring more people in, invite them to be here, continue to hit the share button, the follow button, all that stuff. It is a joy to meet with you guys on Auburn Family Night. And I hate the one caveat of doing it on Wednesday nights is we run into problems during a basketball season with that, but certainly we'll make it work as we always do. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all the kind words. We're doing good. We're trying to make sure that we get everything worked out here so we can be on the schedule. This is Kyle's favorite show because it's not the flagship show, or least favorite show, I guess you'd say. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. You guys are great. Till we talk to you again, I want to remind you that the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things: to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.